Welcome back to the Packer Project. I'm your host, JJ Lahey, here with my good friend, Jake Shavink. And we're going to be talking to you today about some just Packers odds and ends. Happy to have you guys here in the chat with us. We got some topics cooked up here. But first, real quick, tiny bit of housekeeping. Okay, if you are listening on the podcast feed on audio, in the next 1 to 2 weeks, the podcast feed might change a little bit, and just therefore, I just want you to, if you're like, hey, it's been a minute since I saw a episode from these guys. We didn't stop posting. Just make sure you're still subscribed to the right channel. That's all. I just want to make sure we don't lose anybody. All right. The other thing is, Jake, we are going to go down to just once a week here for just the next month or two. You got some stuff going on. I got some stuff going on. So we're gonna go down to once a week. Just so that we can keep putting out content and we don't have to, go on hiatus. So maybe over the course of the show, we'll figure out what day of the week that's going to be, whether it's going to be a Monday or a Tuesday, whatever. We'll figure that out. But for now, Jake, Brandon McManus, gone. We're a little bit late to reacting to this news because we had to skip an episode, but This is no small potatoes that the Packers paid out $1 million bonus to McManus to carry him into the offseason so that they had a kicker on the roster that they believed in, I guess, somewhat. And now he's released. It's a post-June 1 designation so they can split that dead cap in half. How do you feel about heading into the summer with just Trace Mack and Lucas Haversick on the roster?
I think it's fine. I think, wasn't really thrilled about, I'm glad he was making kicks and all that good stuff, but wasn't exactly thrilled when they made this signing because of some outstanding stuff going on off the field with McManus. Wasn't really into that.
Well, Brandon was never a beloved Packers signing. Everybody, I think, at best, felt a little bit uneasy about the signing. And then when he was kind of money McManus for that first season, it's really all right, I got to be honest. Just like doing your job successfully and making me never think about the kicker, that's a good way to get me to kind of just brush some of those feelings aside and stop thinking about my personal feelings about you. But then last year, listen, winning heals everything, right? And there was not a lot of winning last year. And so there was a lot of time for everybody to go, yeah, why is this guy on the roster?
And it was because of the kicking, right? It was, okay, special teams, we're getting a field goal block, we're losing to Cleveland. Oh, we're down to Pittsburgh at the half because he can't make anything, right? Like it very much, and then obviously in the wild card game, right? So all of that, I think kind of brought everyone back to reality a bit of like, yeah, did you really want this guy at all to begin with? But yeah, as you said, when he's making kicks, everybody's kind of, cheering on, and it's kind of like, oh yeah, I guess that's fine. But yeah, I have no problem with this. I think Haversick getting a chance is cool and still being on the roster. And then obviously Smack's going to get the chance to be the guy. And for me, as I've maybe made a bit of it on this show, a little bit of like, hey, we shouldn't kick at all. I'm still kind of half in on that, to be honest. So kicking change, might as well just go for it anyway. Let's just go get points no matter what. Live and die by the touchdown. But yeah, I think it'll be good to see what Trace Mack can do. Again, I think kickers is tricky, right? When you have one for a long time and they have a slip up, it's kind of you're much more forgiving, right? Boswell had a really rough year with Pittsburgh several seasons back, and they hung in, and he's been excellent, right? And obviously Crosby had that one really bad year where everybody thought it was time to go. Yeah. They stayed patient with him.
Is it 2018?
Perhaps. It might have even been earlier than that, but at some point
he had 2 years that were like that. But then
that's right.
There was the one where he had 13? That Detroit Lions game with the 5 missed kicks. That was, right. I think that's the one that sticks in everybody's mind. I think that was 2018.
Okay. And yeah, I think that the weird game, yeah, where that one tight end was catching passes, and I forget his name.
There was
But
also that weird
it'll come
Bengals
to me.
game in
Oh yes,
2021
yeah.
where who was the Bengals kicker that year?
It was
Was it
McPherson.
McPherson?
They had drafted
Yeah,
him, I believe, the year prior.
that was crazy. That was such a
And
crazy day. That
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 was a
that game
wild
happened
game.
on my wife's birthday,
It was wild.
and we were at an apple orchard, and I had kind of circled that as like, hey, Bengals, that's a game I'm okay with having to miss live. I'll
Sure.
catch it on the replay. Out of all the teams we're going to play, whatever. A crappy Bengals team, I'm fine with. And I'm just kind of, I'm getting the score updates. And whatever app I was using at the time was telling me when there was a kick attempt. And I thought my app was glitching out. It's like, kick attempt, kick miss, kick attempt, kick miss. I'm like, this is not real. This is not actually happening. And then we're driving
Yeah,
home from the apple
it was
orchard,
nuts.
and it's taken forever. This is going on, and finally, I said to my wife, because the notifications are coming up, and we can see it on the screen in the car, and we're like, okay, we need to pull over and find some sort of a sports bar or something that has a TV, so we can go in and see what the heck is going on. So we walked into a Buffalo Wild Wings, and the game was over at that point, and the announcers were basically just saying like, have you ever seen anything like that? Those kickers must be just desperate to get home.
Yeah, honestly, it was like, okay, this is over. Hopefully, we bounce back next week. No problems. No one will think about this one. But yeah, I mean, when you say patient with guys, that's totally fine. Now, when you bring a guy in, right, and you've been searching for a kicker now for a few seasons, right? You tried the Carlson thing. Like, okay, cool. He made some kicks. Maybe we'll give him an extension. Then it's a bad year. It is trickier, I think, for these kickers on the second, third teams to. You're probably going to have to establish 2 good seasons at least. I think before there should be some level of commitment there, and just didn't do it. And I think, as JJ pointed out last week, a few weeks before, just the maybe it was the Draft Picks Explained show where you said they lost 5 games because of the kicking when we were talking about Trey Smack. And it's like,
Well,
yeah, I
hold on,
mean,
so that people don't come after us. I have to word it as he cost us 5 wins because of the tie
Yeah.
to the Cowboys. So I had to say he cost us
Oh,
5 wins, not that he lost us
right.
5 games. Because
That's
if you
right.
word it the other way, people get mad at you. Found that out.
Whatever. People are gonna be mad either way. Anyway, but yeah, I think just that showing up in key spots against again, and at the culmination of it in Chicago, just not the place to make a mistake like that. So yeah, we move on. Good riddance. See ya. I think I said I don't remember what I said on Twitter when that came across, but it was something along those lines, and it was like, all right, yeah, it's time. Get out. Let's see what Trey Smack can do at this point. So it'll be exciting. It's something again that we hope that we don't see it popping up as a problem, right? It's just kind of ho hum, right? It's kind of like, if you I feel like if you know if you know your kicker really well, it's for 2 reasons. One, he's either phenomenal or he's terrible, right? So I have no problem with a guy just ho hum, oh yeah, he missed a couple from 50, right? Oh, he had that one random miss in like 48, but it was a strong year and nobody knows who it is. And it's like, that's totally fine. I will take that this year. No doubt about it.
We have a super chat from Drew, $10
Why does
dono.
it show
Said,
up like
I
that?
wish we could, because he sent it on Venmo, and I just,
Well done.
Venmo texts me
I see.
the transaction. I copy it and then I paste it into a banner so you can put it on the screen, because we want people to donate on Venmo, because we get to keep a lot bigger percentage of it than with an actual YouTube super chat. So I want somebody who sends in a Venmo dono to have at least as good of an experience as a super chatter of having it on screen, just like the super chats do. So that's how I do it. But Drew says, I wish we could trade McManus for a pick. We had to pay the $1 million roster bonus because we couldn't go without a kicker, but ... It's a good point. It's a very good point. And frankly, there's been a lot of players over the last few years. I would even say probably the first time that I really felt this would have been Mike Daniels when we released him in 2019. Of like, there's times when you're like, gosh, I really wish that the Packers could get something back for this guy. And I think the thing with McManus is probably nobody was willing to trade for him. Pretty good chance.
Yeah.
You know, he wasn't signed to the cheapest contract, and he does have the off the field stuff, and he had a really bad year last year. Like all the reasons we don't want to keep him. McManus here with the post June 1 cut, $2 2/3 million dead cap in 2026. That's a lot of twos and sixes. That's why I had to say it that way. You want some more? We are saving $2.612 million against the cap this year, and then next year we have $1.667 million in dead cap with $4.599 million in savings. Do you like it when I say the numbers that way, or should I make them rounder next time?
I liked it. I think we keep going with that.
Drew is apologizing for the long message. Never apologize for a long message. How long do Jake and I go on this pod? Like 2 hours usually. We're wordy dudes. Don't apologize for having a lot to say. And certainly don't apologize for a dono.
Yes.
I see we have some fun comments in here. Some of them we're going to answer in a few minutes. Some of them we're going to save for the third half of the show, which is only available on the live stream on YouTube. So if you are not listening to that, make sure you go check us out on YouTube at Packer Project. Jake?
Yes.
There is a new technology
ASMR.
out here. I have some ASMR for you.
Let's do some. There we go.
That's very nice. That's very nice.
You're welcome.
I'm going to play something for you, Jake.
Okay.
And I want to see what your thoughts are about this. Okay.
Okay.
You're going to hear a voice. What I'm doing right now is I'm trying to pick what volume I think I should play this at because it's kind of a guess. Ready? Here's the voice.
Okay.
Join JJ Lahey and Jake Schvink as they dive into everything football, covering the Green Bay Packers, the NFL Draft, and, of course, the best of Northern college football with smart analysis when we can stay on track. Our audience loves derailing us with wild, off-topic questions.
You know what this is?
On everything from football to Godzilla.
This is not me.
I was going to say, it
Join us for
doesn't
game
quite sound
insights,
like it.
laughs, and
It's
endless
pretty close,
twists, where every
It's pretty close. This is AI doing my voice. And I think this might be what we would have to resort to on this podcast if we were trying to do twice a week episodes during this segment where you and I are going to intermittently be missing a Friday. It would be one of us talking to AI other co-host.
That's true.
But that might be better content. You never know.
Yeah. There is,
Can we talk
again, these small chances that these Fridays is just it is a extremely packed schedule. It just turned out this way. Some people in the comments saying they don't mind going to once a week. That's great. JJ, if there's news, okay, and we need to go live immediately, my plan is to still have all of my stuff just in case. Except
I would
for
hope
that,
so. You're not going to be taking you're going to be on the road. I see.
Yeah, and so except
I thought you
for
were saying
that
like you're going to
last
tear
one
down
in
your recording
June
studio.
that I said I cannot do, which I think is the 12th.
Okay.
That one is that one I will not have my stuff. But the rest of them perhaps. So there could be some intermittent,
That's really
live
good
stuff,
to know.
breaking news. Hey, look, here's what happened, stuff like that. So still possible.
That's really good to know because I'm just coming out on the other side of a portion of my schedule where I basically had to lock it in. Like we're doing the pod Monday, we're doing the pod Friday, and then every other evening of the entire week, I'm out there doing stuff. Thankfully, that chapter of my year is closed. And so, as of right now, basically I could any given weeknight, if there were, if we traded for Micah Parsons a second time, I could hop on and do a live stream right then and there. You know what I would not be willing to do a live stream for? Cam Jordan to the Chicago Bears.
Is that a thing?
You and I talked about the Bears really being thin at defensive end.
Yes.
And even though that's true, Bears fans are still going to come into the comments of this podcast and gripe at me for saying such a thing.
Well.
Dennis Allen, the defensive coordinator for the Bears, said when asked about the potential of going after Cam Jordan, he said, I think we feel pretty good about where we're at and what we have. But you never know what opportunities might present themselves at some point down the road. So,
So nothing.
kind of couching his words here, leaving all avenues open.
Yeah.
I think that the Bears should absolutely be in on at least somebody as good as Cam Jordan. And the fact that they wouldn't have to trade for him and he's just sitting out there, it seems like a no-brainer for me. And I don't understand what the Bears are doing not adding to that defensive end room. Where would your concern level be as a Chicago Bears fan about the state of their defensive end room right now?
Oh, just like in totality, I just feel like there's just really not much there. Like I think there's a lot of hope, and
It's just a Chicago thing
for sure. But obviously, rebellions are built on hope. So like totally understand some of that. When you look up and down the line again, Montez Sweat, we kind of know what he is at this point, right? Like there's nothing going to be like overly shocking if he has a big sack season. And once again, guys who like have these weird pop-up sack seasons where they jump in production, very often a cleanup sack, coverage sack, we're doing something different with our stunts or our twists that we feel like we can get you a good matchup, right? So a lot of that is going to be dictated by something else, right? And obviously, when you look at the league, there's entanglement is a heavy portion of where success is derived from. But I think with him, you just know what he is. Edge setter, going to try to, do as much as he can to win with some power, even at that kind of height. Odeyingbo, I think off of injuries, he just hasn't been quite the same. I think it was a decent little gamble by them to see if they could capture some of that as more of him being a heavy end, because he really wasn't a heavy end when he was in Indianapolis. And that's the kind of players that Dennis Allen likes. I know there's some hype with Austin Booker. I get some of that a little bit. I don't know if I don't think that means quality starter necessarily. I think that means really, really impactful rotation player who can maybe be solid starter at some point. That the frame still kind of has me, a little bit concerned with his effectiveness long term. I know they still have Gervon Dexter. Kind of been waiting for it. Maybe it happens this year. He's still 25, so it's not impossible. He's probably the best bet this year of any of those guys on the interior. We kind of know what Gallimore is. Grady Jarrett's over the hill. They're going to be paying him, $34 million over the next 2. That's tough for them. And then Shamar Turner, who I think was just dripping with inconsistent technique across the board, defensive tackle from A&M. I don't think we're going to see anything from him this season unless he has been hard in the lab doing all that stuff. Like, I just don't feel like that's something we're going to get from him in year. Honestly, I feel like if I'm trying to bet on something in that defensive tackle room, JJ, it's going to be Dexter 1, and I kind of think it's going to be Vandenberg a rookie 2, which is just not something you should be doing, is banking on a late day 3 rookie to kind of help carry your room for you. So, I mean, I haven't looked. It would be really good to check out the rest of the league and see what the rest of the defensive lines look like and see, are they truly like, is this 32 of 32? They got to be around there, right? This is at the very best late 20s in terms of how I'd see this relative to the league. I think that I'll point this out. I working through my kind of last looks at the draft as a whole before I think we'll take a look at it a year from now and see how guys are doing. I do think that like Vandenberg, other than Thieneman, is like my favorite pick they made. Just because I think that's the type of, again, player that I think teams just took a lot earlier that they're going to get kind of similar production out of. And I think that's going to be nice for them. But it felt like they had some opportunities to go after some edge rushers, some defensive tackles, especially edge rushers, if they wanted to early on, and they just didn't do it, which is surprising. And they took that little speedy receiver out LSU in the third, which just feels very Velus Jones coded, very like, hey, can he be Khalif Raymond type of thing, which is just, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I don't know about that. So, yeah, that's kind of, I just, as far as concern level, I mean, this is like, if you're putting like, which we've done before, the confidence level in positions, right, where we go, oh, at QB for Green Bay, we feel like are at 9 out of 10 or something like that. If I were the Bears, this has got to be like a 2.5. Like, this is a very, very concerning position group across the board. Like, again, you're banking on, I think the biggest things you're banking on right now are Booker, Dexter, and a rookie in Vandenberg right now. Like, those were where I'd put probably most of my chips at this point, and just don't know what kind of return we're going to get out of that. Like, and again, I think Allen will have something up his sleeve in terms of scheming some of it out, but I just when push comes to shove and we're in December, we're in January, I don't know. If they think they're going to make a run in January, you got to go get Crosby. That they have to go do something like that. Right?
I still think the door is open for that as well.
Right, which it probably is. Or they had to go land like Dexter Lawrence or something like that, which I don't think would have been advisable for them. They're in a longer window. I think they don't need to necessarily do that for a guy who was looking for a new deal per se. I would much rather bank on like a Crosby, who's maybe more of a rental at this point. Like, so we'll see. But at this point in time, way more confident in their secondary and their linebackers than their defensive line. Like, there's going to be a lot of slack that's going to have to come from, like, again, a Devin Bush potentially, right? And a TJ Edwards. So TJ Edwards, very solid. We've talked a lot about him. Like, that's, if they were to keep one of those players that they've had for a while, that's probably the guy to keep. And again, obviously Jalen Johnson, Kyler Gordon's a little more volatile. They're hoping Malik Muhammad maybe becomes their corner too, but I like their safeties a lot. So yeah, it just feels like they're secondary, then the linebacking unit, then defensive line for that team. It feels, when you have to win in the trenches in January, that just feels like a team that's going to get pushed around by Seattle, Dallas, LA, right? Like the teams that you kind of maybe expect near the top. Like, that's even Philly, even kind of battered down Philly offensive line, I would still bet on them just absolutely shelling that Bears front, and getting back to their roots with Barkley in a game like that. Like, that's just kind of where I see it.
Well, I think you kind of teed up our next couple topics really good, because you're talking about winning the trenches and getting back to running routes with Barkley, and those are kind of the next two topics I wanted to talk about. So Perfect. First of all, we do have a voicemail. This is from our guy Danny Zapp. I'm going to play this. He's got some thoughts.
Lovely.
Hey, I was watching Greg Olson break down the Rams and the Seahawks and what makes them special about how they attack teams. And they were talking a lot about how they use light personnel with blocking receivers, and that's how they are able to effectively run, because they're always running up against the nickel defense. And it kind of made me think, it's like, like, Cisse, like, if by the end of the year, because I'm not going to look. I don't know if they're on our regular season schedule, doesn't matter. But by the time we get to playoff, if Cisse is an immediate, like, starter by end of season, it's a great fit for what we need to compete with the Rams, because if they got blocking receivers and we got this guy that's just this downhill run defender that's just a force in the run defense on the edge, that's going to help. That helps us win those games. And something that I think is slept on, and McClellan, whether they did it on purpose or not, I think he is our thing that puts us over the edge against the Bears. The reason why I say that with McClellan is I watched in 2024, I watched every snap of Caleb Williams, and
my condolences.
Last year, everybody's like, see, 2024, all those sacks, it wasn't him. It was the offensive line. And I'm like, no, it was him. because I watched every single play of that passing play of that season, and the one takeaway I had is he does not operate in a muddy pocket. He is very uncomfortable if he has pressure up the middle, and he will freak out. And the thing that happened last year is when they solidified the interior, he had that extra second to be able to spin out, do whatever, like witchcraft and wizardry and human sacrifice that he does, right? But the thing that McClellan does is, like, if he just has a gap responsibility, he's got a good enough first step to get that interior pressure. Yeah, he has some reps where he just gets shut down, but he has a pretty good pass rush from the nose tackle position, and also he has a very stout run defense where, yeah, he might get moved back a step, but he is really solid in the run game. So it's just the interior run and the interior pressure that he could provide by the end of the season when it's time to go up against the Bears the second time or go against the Bears in the playoffs. That helps us put us over the top over them. So I think these first two picks.
You know what? I played. He sent 3 voicemails because one was a part 2, and I'm realizing I played them kind of in reverse order. So we skipped the offensive line one. I got to try these next 2 and see which one of these is part 2 of what we were just listening to. Okay. So I might have to switch it.
Hey, I just wanted to comment on the draft.
All right, this
just wrapping up my thoughts. Jagger Burton, perfect. We didn't get a tackle to play guard. We got a guard to play guard and center, which is a lot better. We still get the versatility on the interior, provide some competition. Love it. Another corner just
Imagine
for depth.
That.
At that late in the draft, it's like, does it really matter who? Get a guy from a big school, high pedigree, had to show some character stuff because he had to work back from having early slumps. So I enjoy that. Getting a kicker to provide more competition, special teams, because again, another year where the kicker was an issue. And Mason Crosby, we miss you, even though it wasn't always great with you either, but we just had it, it just seemed like
it was good enough with Mason.
Yeah.
Wasn't as noticeable because we had Aaron Rodgers having us win by 10 points, so you didn't notice the 3 when he did miss. Like, a lot of these guys aren't doing the same, but I don't know. I like the name Trace Max. Apparently, he's an energy guy. So this draft class, I give it a solid B+. Yes, there's positions that we're going to need to work on next year, but luckily we have 11 picks. I think we have the roster in place to compete. I like the guys we picked because
For sure.
the information that they had that we don't have access to, they were able to identify stuff in these players. I like that C-State's talking to Stephon Gilmore every day. I like the fact that McClellan is immovable, but he has the upside to be a pass rusher. He's just slow and consistent. But these guys have real-world production in the SEC, so I'm all for it. Let's go. Go Pack Go.
So I appreciate that call. Thank you,
Yeah,
Danny.
my
And
gosh. Incredible
Daddy Danny.
stuff.
And
Taking the time.
he ended on McClellan. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I love that he took the time to just really go through all of that. I really, really enjoyed listening to what others thought on this draft and just how they expected to shake out. Love that.
Well, he ended with Chris McClellan, and so I want to talk about a couple of things that the coaches said about McClellan this week. So Vince Ogabasi, by the way, Jake, what are your thoughts on? Do you approve of the job that Vince did in Green Bay? Coach Vince in Green Bay?
Yeah.
Thumbs up or thumbs down on Coach Vince in Green Bay? Listen to that hesitation. This man does not think Vince Lombardi was a good enough coach in Green Bay. Embarrassment.
I don't know.
I'm just trying to set you up.
No, I love that. No, should make that into a short.
I'm absolutely gonna. Vince
Yeah,
Ogabasi, though.
I think I don't.
You
think
don't
I'm
actually
like,
have to answer that. I was just trying to sucker you.
No. I think I'm probably lean more thumbs up than thumbs down, but I don't think it's like fully one way or the other. Like I think there have been some good things. I do think there have been some good in what he's done. I'm just because I think the he helped get Kingsley into a really functional rotational role, right? And I know Kingsley had a lot of that stuff coming in, but again, I think the NFL speed, the processing has to be quicker, all that stuff. I think he did a good job there. I think he did a nice job, I think helping LVN progress into what I think we think he can be, right? Like it seems like we're just kind of maybe enriched uranium type of thing with LVN at this point. So I do like that. Obviously, Parsons coming in is really helpful, sure. But I am excited to see. And I know there shouldn't be high expectations for the Georgia guys from last year, right? Obviously, Wyatt has plenty coming in and should have plenty of expectations. But Brinson, Stackhouse, no true expectations there, but interested to see kind of, if Sorrell and Oliver, what we can get out of them, because obviously they kind of got the guy we thought they needed, at least the type or the frame or just body type, maybe edge rusher that we thought they needed coming in, that we spent a lot of time talking about, okay, this is the type of guy they probably should go after. This is the type of guy, on day 2 or day 3 that like, this is a good player to look at, if you want to fill this type of role. And we think they kind of did that. So I think I would probably lean more thumbs up, I want to say. Because again, I don't think you're going to get it out of everybody, right? I think you've been very vocal on Brooks kind of maybe being miscast and maybe should be a heavy end, right? And I think Colby Wooden, gosh, dude just battled out there, switching positions basically entering last season. I think got a lot out of him last year. So, and again, we didn't expect him to be the full time. I think it was kind of like, all right, this is like patchwork. We got to have him play here basically. And man, to his credit, he battled so hard out there. So yeah, I think as a body of work, I think I'm again more thumbs up than thumbs down. It's more like are we like ooh like move up a little bit? Like I feel
clip that,
right.
clip it, clip it.
All right, like that feels good. So yeah.
Well, now that you've critiqued him, here's what he had to say about Chris McClellan.
Okay.
Vince Ogabasi said about Chris McClellan, who, again, we're talking about because Danny Zapp left us a nice voicemail talking about him. And I see you, Zapp. I see you in the chat here. He said McClellan was picking up on the technique and scheme faster than I thought he would. Like to hear that. Goody said that the reason they moved up from 84 to 77 and gave up a 5th rounder was because Goody said, we made the decision, we had to get him. And basically framed it as like, this is the one spot in the draft where he actually felt pressure of, if we don't get McClellan, we might not be able to add to this interior. Which is not only a comment on the rest of the depth in the draft and what kind of defensive tackle they wanted to add, but also, I think it's a comment, too, on the free agency situation, where he's saying we might not be able to add to the interior if we don't do this. He said once they passed on McClellan in round 2, they knew the big guys weren't going to be there in numbers. And I'm pulling up the the list of the DTs who went in between.
Were they there in general? That's another question.
They certainly weren't there in general.
We'll hear about in a few years when we look
Drew
back at
asks,
this class and see. But Yeah.
has Goot ever heard of Big Citrus? Well, obviously he heard of him. They passed on him again in the third round. The Packers didn't want him.
Listen.
They told us very clearly they did not want Dominique Orange. That's not who they were in on. When they took Brandon Cisse, here's the other defensive lineman who went after that. So, not this is an edge guy, but Gabe Yakas, and then Onyedim at the beginning of round 3. Kieran Crawford, Romello Height.
Kieran, man.
As far as and then Chris McClellan was the next guy. So like it's Onyedim.
Okay.
Onyedim.
Did Regis go before they picked, or did he go after?
And McClellan.
Did Regis go before?
Regis went after. Regis went at 81. Okay. So we moved up from 84 to 77. Okay. He went at 81. So he, and by the way,
gotcha.
Even if you wanted Big Citrus and Albert Regis were both gone by pick 84. So even if that was who you wanted, and you're like, oh man, why'd you trade up for McClellan? Listen, they traded up and got the guy of those 3 guys that they wanted, and then none of those guys were available once they were on the clock.
Which, yeah, again, I think if you're going between those 3, right, in a vacuum, I think only one of them is going to give you much of anything rushing the passer. So I understand it if you're going like, oh, between those 3, we want our pick. This is the guy, like completely in a vacuum. Totally understand. The fact that some of these guys were going in the third round, that where I stand on that. But again, if, as I mentioned, from their process between those 3, that's the one I would have been. Well, I would have been like least like upset about. I think is going to get them because I just don't think Orange. I don't think Orange is going to be pulled out of the nose tackle role at all. Like I don't think he can move around the line. Because unless you're not an attacking front, right? If you're not an attacking front, I guess he can move along the line because you're just going to have him sit and kind of be that squatty anchor guy to just kind of hold the gap, right? Like that, you can move him around in that regard. But again, the missed tackle rate, I don't think is like an anomaly based on the arm length. I think it's going to continue to be there. And I think that's going to that costs him rushing the passer, and it's very clearly it very clearly happens when he is rising up because he has to reach as far as possible to strike when he's rushing the passer. That stuff shows up, and there's some things you can mitigate with a lack of length, right? On the edge at tackle, right? Interior, sure, but like at some point, there is a line, and when it shows up a lot more than others, like that's kind of how it goes in the league. So yeah, Minnesota, I liked some of what Minnesota did. I didn't like that. Didn't like the Jack Regis, but anyway, we don't have to hear.
You know what I don't like?
We don't have to hear me ramble a lot about the defensive line class that I didn't like at all. But
I'll tell you what I don't like. I don't like when people listen to our show without subscribing on YouTube. That just makes me sick.
Great transition. Love that.
Subscribe to us on YouTube, please. Our channel is called Packer Project. That's what you got to do. Iowa Joe asks, did I miss Jake and JJ singing Hey Hey Goodbye?
Oh, we should have put that song on here.
Adis.
Oh, that would have been so good.
You can get our copyright strikes on YouTube?
Yeah. just this time.
And Spotify?
Yeah. No, I wish we could play that for that one. That would have been sick to open up that way.
You did miss us bringing up his off the field stuff and saying like why the shine fell off him so quickly. But I do want the record to show that from a purely football standpoint, which you can't judge everything based off of purely only football. You just can't.
No.
Because the off-the-field stuff matters.
Yeah, otherwise, again, they wouldn't have all these interviews, bringing people in for 30s, like all that stuff. Now, are they a little more
from a purely football standpoint,
sure. But
I actually don't co-sign on this. I think they should have kept McManus. I didn't really want to draft a guy. I wanted to bring in 5 or 6 UDFAs,
Sure.
have a kicking competition all summer. That's what I wanted to do.
That's fair.
And if the front office was going to start crying about their roster spots, give me a break. You're blowing all kinds of roster spots on wide receivers who are never even going to sniff the practice squad. Spare me about the roster spots.
Yeah.
And by the way, draft picks are more valuable of a commodity than roster spots. So that's how I would have handled it. And setting aside the morality issues, which is what they did when they signed him in the first place, setting those aside, from a purely football standpoint, I think they made the wrong decision both times. Well, all 3 times. But purely football, wrong decision to keep playing him last year when he was not healthy enough to make any of his kicks.
Yeah.
Wrong decision to move on from him now.
Yeah, that's right.
I think go ahead and bring in some competition right now. That's fine. But what's the reason we're moving on from McManus? Is it because he wasn't very good last year when he was hurt? Is it, because of the off-the-field stuff? It's not that, because you've had him this whole time. Was it because of the money? No. You paid him a roster bonus 2 months ago that, by the way, we don't get that back. That's just sunk cost. So it doesn't make any sense to me to cut him right now. Did he cost us 5 wins last year? Yes. I don't really blame him so much as I blame our idiot special teams coach and our idiot front office for continuing to trot out there a guy who could not get the job done and not trying hard at all to find a replacement for him. So I think they made the wrong decision back then to keep him and made the wrong decision right now to just cut him for no discernible reason. Everybody's happy to see him gone. I am too. But on paper, from a purely football standpoint, this doesn't make any sense.
For sure. I gotcha.
Daddy Zap says, McManus lost us games, so we hate him. Either way, he's another scapegoat for last season. I'm fine with finding some scapegoats for last season because there's plenty of blame to go around. I think where my concern lies is definition of insanity. Are we going to keep doing stupid things that get us into stupid situations? And there's a comment that I pinned that we'll come back to in the third half of the show, talking about what would happen if we had stayed healthy. And I do want to get into that, and we'll do that in the third half of the show.
We have another voicemail, right? We're hitting on that other one.
I do have another voicemail from Daddy Zap, so we're going to play this one here.
Sweet.
Hey, I just wanted to comment on the draft. So, as a fan, I got everything that I wanted. Yes.
That's good.
Is this the one we did? Did we do this one?
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, I apologize. We have to restart it because there's no pause, I don't think. It's just restart.
Having some sort of addition at
Oh,
tight
it was a
end
pause. Yay.
as a blocking tight end because we don't have John Fitzpatrick after his injuries last year. That would have been nice. We didn't get that. But, they're floating around. You can still get those kind of guys.
Oh, no. Oh, they got him.
Oh, no.
Well, it goes on for another 3 minutes, and I can see the transcript.
Offensive tackle competition.
Oh, there we go.
We didn't get that. And I'm okay with it. We have 4 guys that could compete at tackle. They're going to try to slot Belton in that right guard, but when you look at all the different tackle play, he was fine the game he played at right tackle. Yes, there was a couple, I think it was a few false start issues when he was playing right tackle. But I think as a first time starting, it was decent enough that we could live with that. Overall, I don't think I think they're doubling down on competition on the O-line. I'm okay with, but Cisse, I absolutely love that pick. Just listening to him talk with Sherman, knowing that he's got Stephon Gilmore as a mentor, just someone who understands football, and he's actively seeking out great to get advice. I love that pick. I think he has a lot of developmental stuff to him. By the end of the season, he could be the starting corner, which is exactly when we need him anyways. the defensive tackle McClellan. I love that pick. The main thing we need is a run stopper with upside. He is very stout in the run, hard to move him. So, like already you get what you want, but then he's got the pass rush upside, right? He needs to work on his consistency, but just in general, like he has the potential to be a 3-down player, and that's what the Packers were prioritizing. He can play all 5 positions, or actually 6 positions: 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 alignment. I'm pretty sure he lined up in a 6, 7, 8, 9. If he really wanted to throw out some crazy thing where he's just like going after throwing some strength on a very weak offensive tackle or something would be fun. But I like those 2 picks. Got DDS, Dennis Sutton. Athletically, production-wise, I don't know why he's not considered a late first, a second-round pick. Yes, there's some stuff on tape. But just the production and the athletic upside, he has the ability to do stuff. So I like the picks. I like the offensive interior guy.
All right, well, that one he got cut off and didn't finish that one up. So, but I liked where it was going before that, before it got cut off. Who says Jake's eyes? Jake, I think you need to comment on your eyes.
Up?
Your beautiful eyes, by the way.
No,
I do like your
it's
eyes.
just I will never be on board. I just the late first stuff for Sutton. We can't be doing that. We can't be doing that stuff. We said, listen, no. It's fine. I think I think JJ pointed this out of like, you can't be upset about this. They got him, at 120 when you were worried about them taking him at 52.
I stand by
which
that.
Which is very fair. I just never saw, I feel like with Sutton, it was very much like he was trying to be an around the arc player a lot more than he should be. And I don't know where I just don't. Penn State is nuts. They just do these guys got doing agilities when it looks like freaking Gumby trying to change direction when he's on a field. Like I don't know. I don't know. He looks like one of those things that flops around at the car dealership. Like that's what he looks like to me sometimes when he's trying to change direction. So I don't know how these Penn State guys continue to do it with the athletic testing. It's really impressive, but yeah, I have no problem. I think my overall thoughts on the draft class was I was probably going to be disappointed because if they were going to chase needs, I just didn't think the draft class was good at those spots where they were picking. And I think I said that the week before the draft, or maybe the Monday of, where I'm just
you said a lot of things right before the
where
draft
it was just
about
like
DDS.
Where it was just kind of, well, not DDS, but like corner and defensive tackle, where it was just like, I just don't love the options when player X gets selected, right? I think it was kind of like when Johnson and Pons go, I'm going to be really iffy on a lot of these guys, right? And they both
my
went.
2 favorite corners. Interesting.
Right, and they both go, and Pons goes to the Jets, a few picks before, and it was kind of like, okay, they don't have a lot of great options here.
They didn't,
at least in my opinion. And defensive tackle was the same way for me. It was kind of like, okay, yeah, you can sell me maybe on a Hunter or a Miller, right? McDonald, you can definitely sell me on that. Like if you just are betting on a 21-year-old to get better rushing the passer, right? I think after that, it's just like Peter Woods, no thank you. Maybe it works out better in Kansas City than it would have other places, but it just felt like this D tackle class was just kind of a lot of like, all right, I will take some Rayshon Benny on day 3, Vandenberg, guys like this, and it's just kind of like, I just don't love the players that I'd rather take the receiver swing or a tackle swing or an interior offensive lineman swing on day 2 and an edge swing on day 2 if they had some options there, which I get it. Barham isn't like if they feel like they don't want 2 of those players, right? The Colin Oliver thing. I understand that they were probably just never going to go that direction. So it was difficult for me because I knew that they were probably, if they were going to go a needs based draft, is what they were going to attack, and it's like I just don't love what's there, and it's probably not gonna be a favorite thing. So which is why, again, I like the Burton pick probably the most and probably understand the McClellan pick the most. So it's just, it was tough. They were just in a tough spot where it just didn't feel like everything was going to be landing for them perfectly. Like, and Drew says Cisse over Pons fight me. I just don't know what you're seeing on film that could get you to that conclusion.
No, that sign means bigger than.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Yes,
he is
Cisse bigger than Pons.
Because, like, I just don't. I did both videos. I did both videos of the channel. I just can't see that at all. In 3 years, if Pons is too short, I guess. But, like, man, I've never seen there's such a massive discrepancy in footwork between the two that it's just like I just don't know.
Well, there's also like 5 years age difference between the two as well.
There is
or
not
3 years, anyways. How old is Pons? Pons has got to be 23.
I don't think so. If I'm not mistaken,
D'Angelo Pons' age. Oh, wow. He was born January 13th, 2005. So he's 21.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of Keontae Scott. Keontae Scott is
yes.
26 years old. That's who I was thinking of.
Yes. He's much older. But no, Pons.
Speaking of guys who are older than Brandon Cisse,
yeah.
Matthew Golden, older than Brandon Cisse.
Sure.
Not by a lot, but by a little.
Yeah.
And we had a question about Golden.
Yes.
Drew says, how come people believe Golden will take a massive step, but not Belton? Let's hear from the coaches on Matthew Golden. First, we'll start with the GM, actually. Goody said, when asked about Golden's rookie year, with all the opportunities we gave him, I thought he did an excellent job. I would have loved to see him get more opportunities throughout the year. It didn't work out that way. But when he did, he performed, and he performed at a high level. Gee golly. Interesting that half the receivers in that room got moved in the offseason by the guy saying that. I think he wanted to see more of Matthew Golden. And I think he's going to this year, you know, health.
Hey, you draft a guy in the
health
first
issues
round.
notwithstanding.
You draft a guy in the first round, you're going to see him.
If you were the GM and you drafted Golden in the first round, and then Matt LaFleur played him the amount that he played him, would you have been pissed?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
For sure.
I think almost every GM would be pissed about that.
Again, I think the
Especially it's not like he sucked when he was out there. Like like when Christian Watson got drafted, it was like, okay, like you can kind of see
it was a tougher snap.
You can see where this could go if things go well.
Yeah.
And I also see why you're not putting him out there every down.
Yeah. Well, I do think there was a level of with Golden, and again, it's something after going through it, and I'll probably roll through his snaps again in the summer just to get a good refresher. But it did feel like there were some spacing stuff, how the route should look relative to this coverage, you know, making a mid-route adjustment. Some of that stuff that at NFL speed that wasn't there.
There were some comments like that from Jason Grable, the wide receiver coach.
Which I think is correct. Like, again, I'm not in the room. I don't know exactly what the calls are, but it did look like that on a few occasions, especially in the first half of the season where it was like, he doesn't, I don't think he quite has the spacing down here. Now, the catch in the Dallas game where I don't know who's that's supposed to be, right? But he went and got it. Credit him for going to get that one.
Whatever it was fun.
That's a spacing issue. Somebody's wrong there. It might have been the guy who caught the ball. But anyway, I do think there is some of that to what he was doing that was kind of like, okay, yeah, this might take a little more time, right? And I think with Golden, right, it's not like, again, I think he's a yak threat because he has some speed, right, and maybe make that first move if he can set himself up well. Like, he isn't like this dynamic yak player, so it's more of like, okay, we're not going to give him all these touches, right? Well, they tried to on occasion, and it wasn't that great, but like they couldn't just do what the Bears did with Burden a lot of like, okay, this is just a special mover post catch. Like, we can just give him some of these and he'll produce on that. So it was kind of like, okay, you had to pretty much with Golden, you have to give him the big boy routes because he's really good at them. Like, you look at the outbreaking routes last year. Holy smokes, is it good? It's so good, especially the outbreaking stuff. If you go watch his rookie film, it's just, you know, are you going to give him those when you have some questions about the spacing, instead of a guy like Romeo Doubs who has been in this offense, right, is producing this offense, like you're probably going to lean on him more than you would the rookie, right? And so I think they're in a perfect spot where he entered the room. Yes, he was a first-round pick, but the expectations weren't like sky high, right? He gets to learn. He gets to see how Wicks and Dobbs and guys like that play and read. I don't think he's ever going to be in the Watson role, but you get to see a little bit of how he plays. But again, he was the biggest compliment other than the outbreaking stuff for Golden as a rookie was he caught everything. He's caught everything. It was just like, I'm contested, out open space, fourth down. Like
That's exactly what Vrabel said too.
Right. And so, man, I love this.
Jason Vrabel
and I are
Jason
on the same
Vrabel.
page. We got this wavelength thing going on here. I got an antenna up. It does look like that. That's what the rookie film looks like. He caught everything. Looks really good.
Send out on your antenna. Send out some notes to him
115
about
targets,
playing Golden a little bit more.
115
Here's what he
targets.
said about Golden's hands. He said his hand-eye coordination is one of the better ones I've been around.
Phenomenal. Yeah.
Then he said the next step is mental. He said Matthew is starting to become a lot more confident, but he has to know every adjustment and every route conversion
100%.
in order to play fast. And obviously, things were starting to cook for him more as the year went on. He finished with 29 catches, 361 yards. His lone touchdown of the season came in that playoff game that shall not be named. But he was heating up as the season went on. I think there's just no reason to expect
Denver
that he's not going to continue the ascension unless you're going to look at the second year slump that we've seen in this offense from these receivers in this team with this wide receiver coach.
That would be tough because that doesn't leave. If both of the rookies are slumping, what's going to happen? Sturdivant, is he going to play? Like, I don't know.
Heck yeah, man, Sturdivant season.
And so the room is it is deep. So
I think it'll be a
stuff.
Savion Sturdivant season. That's what it's going to be.
Oh man, we might go 7-10.
Can you imagine if those two freaks just explode onto the scene this year
7-10.
and just burn the league down? There's no reason they can't.
Oh man, they're going 7-10. Oh no, but I this is an interesting comment too from Daddy Zap saying, I think it's funny. Usually our second rounders get lots of reps, but not our first. No, I think it's really understandable when you think about what Goody's approach of the first round often is versus a second round pick, higher floor, get him on the field the way starters. First round, man, you watch me take this thing to dead center. How hard I'm going to swing on this one, right? And so Miami Dolphins did the same thing. It is uncanny what the Miami Dolphins did. They say, all right, Caden Proctor, let's make the swing. Then it's like, all right, we're taking Chris Johnson and Jacob Rodriguez. It's like, oh, yep, there it is. Okay. Yep. That's the team I know. So that's why I think that's why. And it does seem like very often with their first round picks, one, they're very obviously, they want the more valuable positions, right? And they often go to loaded rooms with their first round picks. Gary went to a loaded room with the Smith brothers. LVN joins Gary and Preston, right? Jordan Love sits behind Rodgers. Golden joins a room that's really deep. Like it's not Jordan Morgan coming in. Where was he? Everybody's like, where is he going to play? So I guess not really a crazy thing. It is a good thing to point out, but it just seems like that's how the first round often goes for them. They're like, no, we're taking the premium position. If they don't play right away. Like we can't, not worried about it. Like, and maybe there's, the second first rounder in 19 when they had Savage, it was kind of like, no, he's going to play. But again, that's kind of the, beyond the first wave of the big swing type of deal. So but
we got one more.
That's, I think, a big thing, right? Well, in this one, I know we didn't quite get to answer this exactly of like, how come people believe Golden will take a massive step but not. So Drew says, how come people believe Golden will take a massive step but not Belton? I have a simple answer. I think Golden's good. That's the simple answer, unfortunately.
Like we've already seen it from Golden, and we're just asking him to kind of continue. Like the step has already happened.
Yeah, I feel bad.
And we're just asking for it not to be a blip. We're asking for him
Yeah.
to continue that.
Yeah,
And for
I
Belton,
feel
it's
bad.
not like we're saying, hey, remember how you ended the season really strong? Can you continue that? It's
Right.
like, hey, can you go find that next gear and
Yeah.
become good? So
The-
that is a gap.
all the guys tagged in like second year breakout articles that you're going to see all summer, I feel like showed you something, right? Luther Burden's going to be on all of them. Why? Because he produced after the catch, especially, and that's the type of thing where it's like, we can lean in. Let's give him more routes. Let's give him more, stuff on the tree and stuff in the system, right? Like, okay, we'll ease him in. So you're going to get some of that from him, and I'm sure Jahad Campbell's going to be on a lot of them for Philly. Like, had a really, really good first couple of weeks. And I think teams kind of caught on to what he does. And I think, he showed something, though, right? So I think there is some of that with a lot of these guys. Walter Nolan's going to be on a lot of them because the few games he played when he wasn't hurt, he was wrecking shop. So that's, I think, the difference, where it's like you if you showed something, if you flashed something in a few games at least as a rookie, that's kind of where you're seeing it. Whereas I feel like Belton was kind of struggling to tread water in deep water for the most part, and they had to thrust him in, right? Like, it was just kind of like offensive line. It's not a great unit. We need somebody come in, and I just didn't think it didn't work very much as a rookie. So
We have one more topic for the pod here. I want to talk about running back depth because we had comments from, and we're going to have to do defense on Friday because we finally talked to, the beat talked to Jonathan Gannon. We finally heard from him for the first time, which I really appreciate that we finally got
ayahuasca
that.
retreat.
Oh, gosh. Who among us hasn't gone on ayahuasca retreat?
Who among us? Oh, yes.
So we'll save defense for Friday. So make sure you're here for Friday because that's going to be our last Friday.
For a while.
You might even say it's going to be our... I'm not going to say it. It's our final Friday. Our final Friday for the next
last Friday
couple
night.
months here.
Okay. Won't be playing that song. That will get the copyright strike will
You can sing it, though.
quick
If you sing
as
it, it
well.
won't get copyrighted.
if you especially if you sing it poorly, it will not get.
If you stick around for the
They're
third half of the show,
I'm not
Jake will sing that
associated
song
with that.
for us.
I'm not associated with that guy. That guy's a clown. Why would he sing? He can't sing, so we're fine. Yeah.
So our final topic here for today, Monday, for the pod, and remember, the third half of the show continues after the pod, but for the pod, the running back depth. The Packers didn't make a move at running back this offseason other than to let Emmanuel Wilson walk. Ben Sermon's running back coach had some comments on MarShawn Lloyd, basically saying he's really good and we're really excited about him and we're really optimistic that he's going to be healthy, but we've been optimistic before. Is MarShawn Lloyd, is he part of their plan or is he just the ceiling for this room? Because, obviously, as long as Josh Jacobs is healthy, this room is fine.
If not,
Adam Stenavich was talking about Chris Brooks and saying, we feel like at this point in his career, he's the full package. He can do everything really well. And I will say, he was relatively efficient overall. He had an 86.9 PFF pass blocking grade, and he had 3.15 yards after contact per attempt. If the offensive line takes any kind of a step toward competency, I think you can survive for a little bit with Chris Brooks at this point in his career. You can't trust MarShawn Lloyd. He's missed 33 out of 34 games. He gets hurt walking onto the practice field on his way from rehab when he finally finishes rehab. How many injuries has he had at this point? 7?
that we know of.
But the Packers seem pretty darn comfortable at running back. They're not bringing anybody else in. Doesn't seem like they really kicked the tires on anything except for they brought in Mike Washington, had some opportunities to draft him and didn't do it, which I think we're fine with.
Yeah, that's fine.
Iowa Joe says make that 33.99 out of 34 games. That's true because I think he only had 6 snaps in that game. Isn't that right? 6 snaps? Or was it
the
6
Colts
carries?
one?
I think it was 6 snaps.
I think he had like 4 for 16, if I'm not mistaken, in that game or something.
It was either 6 carries or 6 snaps. I can't remember.
Yeah.
Tool for this says a healthy
was 6
Lloyd is a
carries.
white whale. 6 carries. Okay.
Yeah. Did not force a missed tackle on those 6 carries, which is tough. Only for 15 yards. Again, it was in the Indy game. A lot on your shoulders when you're running back in that Indy game because Willis didn't really throw that much in that game. So,
Iowa Joe asks, I wonder if running back is going to be one of those where they wait until final cuts and pick somebody up from that group. Here's the thing, though. Emmanuel Wilson only got $550,000 guaranteed and a $250,000 signing bonus.
Where'd he go?
Total cap hit of 1.595 to go to Seattle.
That's right. Absolute
You
rats.
let a guy walk who was
Absolute rats in Seattle.
about
Hate those guys.
the best you could hope to pick up in, final cuts. And they just let him walk for peanuts. So it seems to me like they're actually looking at this as though they have 3 running backs. I think that's kind of stupid. What do you think? Comment below. Let me know. Do you think it's stupid to think you have 3 running backs?
Yes.
I think it is.
I think the one name I would watch potentially.
Dan says it seems to me that Lloyd gets injured just thinking of getting hit. That's brutal and accurate. By the way, I'm looking at their actual roster. Here's the other guys they technically have on the roster. Pierre Strong Jr., who has been in the league for 4 years.
We're still in on a certain fella. Keep going.
How is this possible? This says, according to Packers.com, no, that's his jersey number. His jersey number is 22. I thought he was 22 years old. He's 27. Sorry. Pierre Strong Jr., 27 years old, been in the league for 4 years out of South Dakota State. UDFA Jaden Nixon, who we talked about in a video on the channel here. Go find that if you didn't see it. And then the other guy is Damian Martinez. Is this who you wanted to talk about?
Bang the drum. Bang the drum. Damian
Miami.
Martinez. That's going to be the guy. If things get solved in house, what? I don't
Cool
think
for this says just trade our
we can't be
28 and 29
reckless like
first for
that.
Jonathan Taylor. You're never going to talk me into trading for a running back ever,
I just
or any other low value position.
Yeah, no. We're not. We
I'm
can't
not
be
trading
doing
for off ball
that.
linebacker. I'm not trading for punter.
Yeah, I think I just if they again, he's not going to be the like complementary piece necessarily in terms of trying to be a foil of what Jacobs is.
Wait. Set it up for a clip. Set it up for a short.
All right. So when it comes to Damian Martinez, right? I think he is the guy who can. If you're concerned at all about the running back room, he's like the only in-house candidate to me that can kind of ease those concerns at all, right? In terms of the depth, mostly because I think again the missed tackles forced and kind of just contact balance, run through your face, run behind the pads, like all that stuff, where he can be kind of that battering ram at times, and I think be really successful doing so. Like this is kind of more discount version of Scadaboo without kind of the insanely good receiving chops that Scadaboo has, right? But again, the running back version, right, that I feel like is again somebody who might just be a little overlooked right now, and kind of I think Seattle drafted him or brought him in as a UDFA, and I think they were just kind of loaded in the running back room at that point, and we were kind of like, we just don't have really a lot of space for you. But I do think again, if you go back and kind of watch him at Miami, especially, it's not just run through your face either. There's some really nifty footwork that he's getting the feet down to cut on time to make people miss too. And so I do think like if, again, even the fantasy football dynasty advice, go pick him up, go trade for him, trade a really late pick in 28 or something to go get him, pluck him off a taxi squad or something. Cause I do think like if if the head's on straight and we're good in that department, like he can take advantage of this for sure. Like he is the guy to do so. No question.
I can't
in my
wait.
mind.
Can't wait to see him this summer. It's gonna be so much fun.
Gosh, I hope this ages so well. We can use this clip to feed our families for a week or so, JJ.
Well, speaking of clips,
we'll use this one for sure.
Speaking of clips
that's the other
using
thing.
things, and
He had the 2025 NFL draft yards after contact per carry. He was second to Genty.
but what was his elusiveness rating? Do you know?
Not off the
If
top
you
of
don't
my
know,
head.
then it can't have been that impressive. Well, listen
Off the
up.
top of my head.
You're gonna get Damian Martinez's elusiveness rating. You're gonna get a new voicemail from William, and we're gonna answer some of your fun, silly questions, all in the third half of the show. But if you want to catch that, you got to be watching the live stream on YouTube. So go check that out at Packer Project.